Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Jessie Bowen here with the power to live your vision and with my coach and partner, Coach Nathan Ray. Hey,
Hey,
sir, how
hey,
you doing?
hey, happy, radiant, and free, shining bright like three diamonds. Happy to be back amongst the healthy. How about yourself?
Well, better and better, and I know exactly what you mean. We've been off now for a couple of weeks just dealing with some health things, just dealing with some
Yep.
things that you got to get done. So we are now back.
Yeah.
So now we're all about the power to live your vision. And today's podcast, we want to be talking about the power to live your the power to live your vision, building a healthy physical, mental, and spiritual life. And that's what we want to talk about today. And we
Yes, that's a
know
great
that
topic.
your health is something that's very important, and your health determines the outcome of your success. Because if you're not feeling well, then it's hard to be able to get something done. And
Right.
while your health determines your abilities to fulfill your vision. So let's talk about that. I know that you've been under weather. I've been under weather with my knee surgery. And I know that going through the pain before I went to my knee surgery, I just couldn't take it anymore. It had limited me to be able to travel. So there was a lot of things going on, with that. So, if you're not in good health, you cannot be in good mind. So therefore, you cannot fulfill your vision.
Yeah, the quality of life. That I've heard that before. Quality of life, because you can be alive, you can be living, but are you can be existing, but are you really able to live? That's two different things. So that's the beautiful thing when you go through things with your health. It sometimes smacks you in the face and lets you appreciate having breath, having the ability to breathe, having the ability to move and be mobile, like you mentioned with your knees. All of those things, they really mean a lot. So I'm excited about today's topic because we're talking about life principles. We're not talking about all the negative things. Mention that so we can have some context, of course. However, the life principle is really what we're talking about, because the life principle is expansion of who you are in your purpose, and when we are living, we're expanding and growing. So I'm excited about today's subject, because if you haven't been going through those things, that's wonderful. However, at the same time, when you do go through those things, it gives you a different perspective and appreciation for good health.
Well, you're exactly right. I know before I did my knee surgery, I dropped about 36 pounds. I was weighing close to 300 pounds, and
Mm.
it felt good. It was okay. I was having some health issues. My doctor was watching me for different things. I went to the doctor yesterday for my physical, and I've dropped this 36 pounds. He's going, man, you sure look good. My all my pressure was back to a normal.
Wow.
Cholesterol was down. All my numbers look really, really good. And he was excited for me, like, man, you really do look good. But what I discovered from
Wow,
that,
that's great.
that the toughest thing was to get started, because when I looked and saw that there was a problem, I realized the impact it was having on my health. It made it easy for me to now make a decision to get healthy, throw away that weight that I was carrying around, have a moment to think about, why am I carrying this weight around? Is it, because in order to maintain 300 pounds, you got to eat some food. So changing my mindset about the food I was eating, becoming consciously of it. So I think that preparing for the surgery was my why. Being able to do it now, I feel good. I'm working out in the mornings. I got to exercise my legs. I'm working out. So I've dropped this 36 pounds, and I'm feeling great. 2 pant sizes, so I can go shopping now. But sometimes
Yeah,
those
that's a reward.
situations to that we have to make ourselves better.
Well, yeah, when we're going through the thing, we don't always see the plus of going through it. And sometimes our body just needs to purge. And but I like what you said, Hanchi, because in your doctor's reaction, and in your numbers and everything, that continues to add to the momentum that you're on, the trajectory that you're on, of feeling even better and better than you already feel. So that's beautiful. The other part to it is the what you said about carrying that weight, and you could carry that weight. You have carried a heavier weight, but it's not necessary for you to carry that. And that's the same thing with spiritual and mental matters, because we talk about the power to live your vision, because a lot of times those things can haze up your vision. You know, you're carrying things that are additional weight that sometimes can cause us not to be clear in our vision. So as you mentioned in the physical realm, we also need to think about it in the spiritual and the mental realm.
Yeah, and we do, and we have to see that success. You put up a picture, create a vision board, put up a picture of someone that looks physically fit. You're going to assume that they're in good health, and so you have those pictures in your mind. And when you look at yourself, and you go, "Okay, this is not me." Now you can make changes in doing that. Or a lot of times, our health puts us at a place that we don't have a choice but to make changes, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's by force and sometimes it's by will. Fortunately mine was by will. And then you have that role of faith and prayer, and you have the spiritual growth from the experience of sickness, or from that place of being unhealthy or not being well, because you don't know if you're going to live or die. Your faith now, whether you believe or don't believe, you start praying, that you start to come through, because you don't know what's on the other side. But on the other side, you want to try to make sure you're taken care of. So
Right,
in that,
right.
praying for your health, understand your spiritual growth from the experience, and achieving lasting success. So I want to continue this success. I'm getting up in the morning and walking for a mile and a half. I biked
Oh,
this morning
nice.
for 2 miles on my exercise bike, and did my weight training. I've got my gym membership going back. So I'm into it.
Right, right. Well, I mean, and that's the beautiful part about it is, I like what you said, because yours was by choice, mine was not by choice, and you were exactly right when when those conditions hit you, and now you a level of control that you feel like you have, you realize you don't have it over your own body in the moment. And so your body is constantly communicating with us. The question is number one, timing and submission to the messages that we're getting. You know, if you're not feeling good and you're having headaches, that's your body is signaling, hey, we need to make a change, we need to do something a little different. And like I said, for me, my personal philosophy that I've adopted is, of course, to focus on the life principle. But you can't do that and ignore, you got certain signals and things that are communicating ideas to you. Having a good health provider to kind of get some feedback on, all of those things are very important. And a lot of times, if you ignore them, your timing is off. It's just like if your timing is off, someone's throwing a punch at you. Well, if you block too soon, you get punched in the face. If you block too late, you get punched in the face. Who wants to get punched in the face, right? So, so,
I don't.
so it's important to pay attention to these things, because, like they say, ignorance might be bliss, but ignorance is not a good strategy at all, especially when we're talking about health. So I like what you said. You're kind of in your momentum, and the momentum keeps building on the next step. You know, the walking, the exercise. I'm going to join your club, because walking is actually probably number one on the list that we can do is just to get out and take a walk. And
Right.
it's so good mentally. And then that steps into the realm we were discussing earlier before this podcast, which is the meditation aspect, that mental aspect that is so vital to our health, because our body is constantly reacting to our thoughts and our ideas. And as Earl Nightingale and others have said, we absolutely get what we think about the most in life. And if you're thinking about illness, negativity, sickness, and all those things, well, you're going to get more of that. But when you go on a walk, go on a healthy walk, you're not thinking about those things. You're looking at nature, you're experiencing the environment, you're having a moment where you can actually drop into that alpha state in motion. So
Well, yeah, and a lot of times you got to get rid of uh, the thoughts of losing weight. Nobody wants to
right.
lose something, because
Yeah.
if you lose it, you want to go find it. You want to
Yeah,
be able to
you'll
get.
find it.
You want to get rid of it. Then you have to overcome the objectives without losing sight of your purpose. In other words, what's your purpose? Mine was, I didn't want all that weight on this brand new knee and mobility wise. And so, but once I got started, been on it 90 days now, it's very easy and motivating to be able to do. So take that
Mhm.
exercise program, mark down 90 days, and it's no longer a job or a chore. It's something that's easy to do.
Yeah. I like that because the consummate mental struggle that people wind up having, the back and forth about, am I going to go to the gym, am I going to but once you, like you said, after 90 days of being consistent, now this is becoming a lifestyle.
Right,
I prefer that lifestyle mentality versus, let's do something, get quick, let's get this thing quick, let's do this quick. But if you can be consistent and do the small things, I mean, it's the smallest of things. Like I said, if you're not in good health and you've ever been unable to take a physical walk and feel okay and feel stable, then you realize the value of taking that walk. And it's a simple act, and it's something that after being an adult for a while we take for granted. But the idea of just being able to take that walk and move our body and get our mindset going in the right direction, all of those things kind of align. So that's becoming now your our I would say our way of life has just shifted. You just shift the way of our life. Hey, not that, do I need to decide to take a walk? No, I don't, because taking a walk is just part of how I live life. So yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, that turns into building discipline instead of reapplying on or relying on motivation. So, again, building discipline instead of relying on motivation. Some days you're motivated, some days you're not. But if you're in discipline, this is what you do, whether you're motivated or not.
Right. You've already made the decision. I think that was one of the big keys is in Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. He has a whole chapter on decision and how the opposite of decision is procrastination and all of those things. But if we focus on making a real decision, then the decision isn't based on circumstances. It's the decision we've made. So I saw one woman, I think there was in the wintertime when the snowstorm was about to come and it was freezing. I was in Cary. I was driving to pick up some things at the grocery store, and I saw a young woman. She was I don't know, she was young. She was a woman. She was running, and I said, and she, and it was chilly, and she had on her little shorts. She was running. I said, well, one thing about it, she had made a committed decision that whatever didn't matter what the circumstances were, she was gonna complete her run or do her exercise. I think that's true with not just exercise, but we can apply that, like you said, to as the title of our podcast is, the power to live your vision. Being in alignment with your purpose is about making a decision despite whatever the circumstances say, because circumstances are only temporary. But when we've made a real decision, we're going to keep doing the little decisions and the little actions on a consistent basis to get to that vision and to get to the results that we want. So, yeah, this ties in really good with that.
Well, we're going to leave everyone with this thought: is living intentionally every day. So you want better health, make that a plan, make that a part of your life. And remember, not just getting motivated, but set that as a discipline, set that into your schedule, make time to do that.
Yes, sir.
Practical action steps to align your body, your mind, and your spirit. Not, finish your workout, do your meditation, aligning the mind, the body, and the spirit, that perfect way to be. So that's our tip today. So remember, get healthy, get well, be the best you can be. Final words, Coach?
No, I think that sums it up beautifully. And it all just begins with going ahead and taking action. You can listen to these words. They're very positive. Go back and watch the podcast. Big thank you to Elite Publications for being the sponsor of our podcast. You can catch us on Spotify, Roku, and what else can they catch us on? Facebook,
Apple,
Yeah. So,
YouTube.
yeah, absolutely. So go back and watch this and study it. But above all else, take action. Go ahead and start doing something.
All right, everyone, be blessed. And hey, we're back. Follow us, like us, share us. And remember, go check out our website, thepowertoliveyourvision.com, thepowertoliveyourvision.com. Be blessed, everyone.